everyone. It's a bit of a late video post day today. I tend to always seem to do the daily page, posting it a little bit later. That may just be because I take the time, I have to have the time to create first. But anyway, welcome to the daily page, and I do 2 of these a week. So the first one I did was to draw the face, and I've linked to that video at the very end here in case you want to see that. And then today it's just painting and finishing up the page. So I kind of didn't really have a plan in mind as to how I was going to paint this. I was just kind of playing with color and kind of just in the zone, I guess. And you get into your, at least I do anyway, get into my painting zone where I'm not really thinking, I guess, consciously, specifically about what I'm doing or what color I've chosen or anything like that. I'm just playing. And oftentimes I will try out different things or get frustrated. This is just drawing paper. This is not sketch weight. It is not mixed media weight. It is not watercolor. This is a really thin sketch or drawing weight paper. I'm going to really quickly see if I can tell you the actual weight of it. It is 65 pounds. It definitely wrinkles up, as you can see, and the water kind of floats on the surface, so I can get overzealous and get carried away and forget that it's just not going to absorb the color, and that I have to have patience and I have to stop and I have to dry it. So there's quite a few stops in this video where I'm finally making myself stop and dry it. This was one of those times where once I started putting the black in, I kind of realized I wasn't going to get the effect I wanted to get because I had forgotten, I guess, that I was using this really thin drawing paper that doesn't really absorb water very well. So I tried I was trying for a specific effect, and then right about this time I started getting frustrated when I realized, oh, that's probably not going to work that well with this particular type of paper. But that's okay because I just, kind of go with the flow, and, I don't stress about it. So I went ahead and paused. At a certain point, I'll pause this and I'll let it dry. The biggest problem that I ran into was, as often I think probably happens to most of us, I paused it and then I got distracted and I ended up going outside and spending time with my granddaughter. That my daughter was outside gardening, and I could see them out the window, so I went out there, and when I came back, Titan had walked all over the page. So you'll see that here in a bit, and I do at the very end end up having to break out the acrylic paints. I just got out white to kind of white back some of the marks that Titan had made, and then he made a lot of footprints over on, if you're looking at the screen, it would be to your right. He made a lot of messy footprints over there. So I went ahead and included some facial tissue paper as a collage medium, and I know that some of my students have been asking to see, a variety of different ways in which I would incorporate my paint, my tissue paper that I use when I'm soaking up watercolor. So I always seem to have a small bit of facial tissue balled up in my hand as I work, and then I often will use that to kind of go in and pull color back. Here was where my frustration kind of got the better of me, and then you just saw me use that little tissue paper to soak that up. Again, I just did it. That's the paper I'm talking about. So once I'm done painting something, I'll have that little ball of paper in my hand, and it's saturated with color. And because of the way I ball it up, sometimes the color that it's saturated with makes a really pretty pattern. You almost kind of look at it and wish you had a stencil that had that pattern. But that's kind of what happened with a couple of paintings, and I usually just like unfold it and lay it out to dry, especially if it's only got watercolor on it, and I'll just kind of let it dry, and then once it's dry I'll pull the plies apart. So here you can see all of his little footprints over there on the right. He made such a mess out of it. But I'll pull it apart once it's dry, and then I have these two really vibrant colored pieces of thin tissue that anything that's, you know, just white, anything that doesn't have any of the color on it is going to go transparent when I glue it down. So I take advantage of that to kind of help smooth out, or at least add, you know, interest other than Titan's footprints that he's added already. And I do that over to the side of it. Other than that, with this, I really just kind of, again, wanted to show that you can paint on any, you know, type of paper surface if it'll accept water at all. You know, this is not a very accepting surface, but it just requires a little ingenuity. It requires a little play, a little bit of a questioning nature. So if you like to problem solve, or if you're a little rebel like I am and you want to go against the grain, so to speak, then, you know, working in this way where you're working with maybe, you know, like this, a substrate that doesn't, you know, that has its own idea of how it's going to, you know, handle the color and the water. And instead of like trying to fight that, you kind of play with that and, you know, see what you can do with it. And I advise everyone try that instead of giving up and you know, tossing that journal just because it doesn't have the perfect paper, and you know, you've done 2 or 3 pages in it and you're like, I hate this paper, you know, I'm going to give up or whatnot. Try to play with it. Try to see if there's maybe, you know, a different use you can use that journal for, even if all you do is just make painted papers in it, and then, you know, tear those out and use them, or, you know, turn it into a collage journal or something of that sort. Me, of course, I'm just going to paint on it. I'll paint on anything. I tell you I would. I'd paint on Titan if he held still long enough, probably. He might not appreciate that, though. But I think that's pretty much about everything I really have to specifically say here. There's, you know, otherwise not a whole lot going on. It's just watercolor and a little bit of collage, and I think that's about it. I hope you're having a wonderful week, and I will see you with the next video on this channel, which will be Thursday. Or if you're interested, you can subscribe to my other channel. There's a link at the end of this video where you can follow my journey, being you know, having a vegan lifestyle, and the, you know, the foods I eat and how I do that, and all the, you know, the things that the journey, basically the entire journey. But that there will be a video posted over on that channel tomorrow, and I actually bought a new toy. Now this is probably something that most people, especially anyone who loves rice, or, you know, most people who have been on a vegan or even a vegetarian lifestyle, or they just, you know, like healthy food, probably already have one of these, and it's probably not a big deal to them. But it's all new to me, and I picked this up yesterday and made dinner with it last night, and I was so incredibly thrilled with it. And I cannot imagine how I ever lived without it. And my rice was absolutely perfect. So was the entire rest of the meal, which was pretty much all made in or with this little machine. So that'll be in tomorrow's video. I hope to see you over there on my other channel, and I will talk to you guys later.